I promise that they will be brief, but nonetheless, it is a remarkably providential thing when the dean, the associate dean of the university, invited me to come here. I immediately, I have to confess to you, thought, well, this is an opportunity to wave the Dominican flag, knowing that, as someone said, the Dominicans have been here for over 50 years, and that this now was the inauguration of nothing less than a parishioner, Teresa Sullivan was a captain, to the presidency of the school. And so I emailed Father Luke immediately, once I had accepted, and said this is an opportunity to do something, perhaps to, well, I said raise money for the choir. I mean, we're mendicants, you know, mendicants, although the word begging is no longer fashionable. Indeed, the activity of begging is no longer fashionable. That was what I said. And so now this was March, Luke. It's incredible how much progress. At that point, it wasn't clear, certainly no mention of the word groundbreaking ever passed the emails. But it is astonishing how much has happened. I feel that it's a sure sign of God's blessing on this project, that a great deal of progress has been made, and so much so that we are. I couldn't believe it, really. I mean, I've been coming here. I've been a Dominican for 50 years, although a priest for 40. And when I was a student brother in Washington, we came down here to sing. The exact date, you would have to tell me the year, to sing at the dedication of the church that was here, I guess the old church. And Father Stickle was the founding priest, I guess. Now he's a member of Diocese of Richmond. And over the years, I've been here many, many times to give lectures, do various things when I was teaching in Washington. I haven't been here in a long time. I have to tell you, I don't think that anybody ever dreamt that the idea of building a priory here would arise. In fact, I was astounded when I heard, I mean, in the best sense. You know, the priory is a difficult to explain. The priory is the fundamental, you might say, standard unit of Dominican life. The idea of having a religious monastic life that was not monastic was original with St. Dominic and St. Francis, and then it was followed by the Augustinians and others, the so-called movement of the friars in the 13th century. And the priory is a place that is able, it has to be ample enough, it has to have, it looks, as you see from the pictures, these could be pictures of a Benedictine monastery, only though probably that would be quite larger, but the basic style of the courtyard with the buildings surrounding and the chapel as part of the wing goes back, well, probably, who knows, for 1,000 years or more. However, the idea that you would have men living in these places who are actually engaged in a ministry to the surrounding area or to areas beyond was something quite new. The friars were not stable, but moving, and they returned to the friars as their base. But the friars therefore had to support a sufficient, there had to be a sufficient number for a prayer life, for the divine office, for a common life, which is the heart of Dominican existence. So when I heard that the idea of building a priory here was now not just an idea, but a reality, and indeed, I suppose in a year or so, we will actually see a building there. It's astonishing to me. This is extraordinary, and I have to say to you that without wanting to sound obnoxious, or I mean in a sense of I have to say to you, I believe that it is a privilege, it would be a privilege to be part of helping them to do this. It would be a privilege. That you would know that you had contributed to this, I think, would be something that would make you happy until, you know, you went to your eternal rewards. Because this cannot be done. We can't do these things on our own. The Dominican House of Studies, which is, some of you have seen in Washington, is an absolutely magnificent place based on the Flemish Dominican Priory that no longer stands, was built, you know, I don't think they knew where the dollar was coming from day to day, if you read the account. And St. Vincent Ferrers in New York, if any of you have ever seen, is one of the most beautiful churches in the country. It was regarded, when it was built, as one of the 10 most beautiful churches in the country. It was also built on a wing and a prayer. But it was from the contributions of the faithful, because we certainly could never have done these things. St. Vincent Ferrers is an absolutely stunning Gothic church on Lexington Avenue in Manhattan. So we do rely on your help to do this. Now, it's interesting, I was sitting here with Delia to my left, and she asked me, well, you know, we know there are 4 Dominicans here now. I suppose she was thinking, how do we know there were going to be any more? Priories have to have at least 6, and I understand there's going to be room eventually for 12. But we are also blessed, and this, I should tell you this, I'm not sure that you know about this. We had an novitiate class this year of 21 young men joined the order. Now, I have to say that 2 of them have left, that is from August to now, and maybe 1 more. But 18 new friars will make simple profession and come to Washington to start their seminary studies. We don't have any, they have to, the student aid floor of the main priory is full. So one of the floors of the senior section of the community has to be taken over for the formation, and possibly, if the classes continue at this size, I understand they're inching toward 15 for the novitiate in August. We're going to have to move some, we're going to have to, I don't know what we're going to do, we're going to have to build. It's not a problem. You'd say, well, it's a nice problem to have, but it is not something that we anticipated. I think I have spoken to the provincial chapter, and I hope that Father Luke will, they put this talk, my modest effort, really to ask the question, why is this happening, into a pamphlet, of which you might be interested to read. I think that the reason that we're getting these vocations, and I have to say to you, sort of as the Italians say, in camera caeritatis, it's Latin, but it means you're saying something you don't want advertised, that there is no religious order that is being blessed at this moment in the United States with these many vocations. Now, and I do not by any means suggest that it's a moment for self-congratulation, I have to say, God forbid. But nonetheless, there is, I believe, that the young men who are joining us, who are coming from extraordinary backgrounds. I mean, the University of Virginia has provided many of them, Harvard, MIT, Notre Dame, Princeton, Yale, and other places. I don't mean to sound elitist, but these people are, the word out there is that if you want to be a religious and you want to be Dominican, join the Province of St. Joseph. Now, how this happened is a mystery. You'd have to say only God knows the answer. We're summarizing my remarks on that occasion, I would say that it has to do with the fact that we're blessed with the capacity to maintain the historic identity of the order through an extraordinarily difficult period, that is the post-Vatican period, which we generally experience as in continuity with the tradition. So there was not a kind of catastrophic rupture or disruption of the life of the province in this period. And now we seem to be bearing the fruits, because these young people are much more discriminating than we ever thought. I mean, it never occurred to us to sort of canvass religious life across the country before joining an order. we just joined and hoped for the best. But these people are quite, well, now with the internet, you can do this with the web. They are very, very careful. And what they're looking for, it seems to me, are communities that know where they are, and what their mission is. And, you know, the fact that a community like this is building a priory in Virginia at this moment shows that this is a sign of the expansion. The order has always expanded by building priories. St. Dominic, I mean, our priories and a university settings, I mean, the priories of the order where? Paris, Bologna, Padua, Naples, Oxford, Cambridge, Dublin. That's where we went. We were drawn like magnets to the university towns, and so Charlottesville is a natural place for Dominicans. Although a priory, of course, would also be a place for, not just for Charlottesville, but for people to give retreats, missions, spiritual direction in the diocese. And I know that the bishop is a great fan. I know him well. Bishop Francis, from working with him in the conference on a couple of committees together. He's a big fan of the order. So these are, a priory is not just going to be for Charlottesville, it's going to be for Northern Virginia, which is, you know, as you know, an astonishingly Catholic area. The university itself has a huge population of Catholic students. So it seems to me that this is the moment, although I would never have, it was beyond imagining, and the joy that I feel that this is happening is really I mean, me who is never, hardly ever at a loss for words, cannot find the words to say how happy I am about this, and how happy I am, privileged I feel, to have been able to be part of this groundbreaking. So, you know, I was thinking, I have to talk tomorrow, it's a very interesting idea, which was Dean Lashway's idea, to imagine that Thomas Jefferson and Thomas Aquinas had dinner together here in Charlottesville. The two Thomases. Brilliant idea. I only have 5 minutes, but I've written it and they're very happy with it. But I've been thinking to myself, what would Thomas Jefferson think about the fact that the Dominican order was establishing a prior in Charlottesville? Well, I don't know he would be so happy about it. Not being a great fan of organized religion, as you know. However, there is a wonderful urban legend that Jefferson read and was very attracted to the constitutions of the Dominican order as a model for a democratic structure, which it actually is. But whether it's true that he did read the constitutions of the order or not, we don't know. But if there is a legend. However, knowing that, he sat up on the terrace, I suppose, Monticello, with a telescope that he designed, and watched the construction of the university of which he was more proud than having been the President of the United States, which is amazing. He watched the construction and sent messages to correct what he considered to be errors of one or another sort. Well, we might suppose watching is the architect, he is, and the builder. You might have, think of yourselves as having Jefferson looking over your shoulder to see how the priory is coming along.